You're live, Kat.
Welcome to the show, everyone. I am your host, Kat Kanavos, and I have Dr. Larry Burk with me here today, co-hosting the show. We are doing this show on the launch of our book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life. And as you can see, with all the little things I've got stuck in my book, I have been researching all kinds of stuff. So thank you for being the co-host of the show today, Larry. And we have Dr. Bernie Siegel with us, who did the foreword and the children's chapter in the book. And we're going to be talking about dreams that can save your life and how they can be early warning signs of cancer and other diseases, which one of the things that makes our book so special. How can your dreams be a diagnostic tool almost before you get the disease? And so we're going to be talking about that. Welcome to the show, Larry, and welcome to the show, Bernie.
Thank you.
Yes.
So Larry and I have been doing shows all day long today, and I am happy to report that Dreams That Can Save Your Life, the book that we are promoting today, has become #1 on Amazon for new releases, and it is right now in number 15 for self-help, and it's going up the charts quickly. So I think by the end of the day, when we do Coast to Coast with George Nuri through the whole night, I think it ends at 4 in the morning for Larry, we will be an Amazon bestseller #1 and everything, and we'll be very excited. So without further ado, Bernie, I heard you talking to Larry before the show started about the ideas that you had for the foreword of the book. Would you share those with us a little bit?
Well, it's all the things that we're not trained in as physicians. What I was saying, some of the things I was saying to Larry is maybe 100 years ago, Carl Jung interpreted a brain tumor through a dream. Now, don't you think they ought to at least say that to medical students? But, you know, if you said to students, did you ever hear that? No. And I got into dreams and drawings not because I was a doctor, but because I drew some pictures myself for Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Because the drawings are just like a dream, and you're creating something. And she immediately started asking me questions. What are you covering up? Why is 11 important to you? This is an outdoor scene that meant nothing to me, my imagination. And I said, what do you mean covering up? Well, you used a white crayon on a white piece of paper. It's already white. And what I was covering up, all my feelings and emotions as a doctor. You know, all the things you can't cure, and you're feeling like a failure. And 11 was because I had started the support group for cancer patients 11 months ago. So all these things that began to make sense to me. So I just took a box of crayons and went to the hospital. And people thought I was nuts there. You know, what are you asking your patient to draw a picture for? But they were showing me, just as a dream does. You know, I was just thinking, I wanted to say this, that one of our children, we have 5, at the age of 7, because, see, a lot of times children will have the dream but express it in a drawing or tell you. But here, at the age of 7, he came up to me and said, I need an x-ray of my right knee. Now, he's got a doctor father. Why didn't he come up and say, Dad, my knee hurts. Can you do something? And I would have said, take a hot bath. But he said, I need an x-ray. I said, why don't you get in the tub? No, I need an x-ray of my knee. And he had a bone tumor. Now, what makes a 7-year-old see that?
That's very young, 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as a bone radiologist, that's pretty impressive, I have to say.
Yeah, but because of my work, when he said that, I knew he knows something's going on. So we took an x-ray, and there's the tumor. Now, fortunately, it turned out to be a benign, very painful type tumor, because I was also picturing his leg gone and he'll be dead in a year and, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Did he have an osteoid osteoma? Is that what he had?
Right. That's what he had.
Yeah.
Oh, was I happy to hear that. You know, I was sure it'll be a sarcoma and all the things that are going to happen to him. And, you know, his dumb father's telling him to take a hot bath. But, again, another child drew a picture of a street corner. And a few days later, he was killed on that corner. He was hit by a car.
Oh, goodness.
You say, what makes him do that? But we know, obviously, our past and our present, but we also know the future. And so when people would have choices, I'd say, draw a picture or, go to bed tonight and have a dream about what job you should take, treatment. It doesn't matter what you who should I marry? I mean, I had a doctor who had several girlfriends. So I had him draw a picture of all his girlfriends, and I told him which one was the best one for him to marry. And they're happy today.
So Larry, let me ask you, when you were going through medical school, like Bernie Siegel was, did any of your professors or any of your doctors that were in charge of anything say to you, use dreams as a means of a diagnostic tool, or how did that work?
The first doctor who ever taught me that was after medical school, after residency, when I was in my first professional job as an assistant professor at Thomas Jefferson, and it was Bernie Siegel when I read his book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles. The first time I ever heard about it from any doctor, that was it. And my dad had just been diagnosed with kidney cancer, and I was reading the book for that reason, and sure enough, that was a life-changing event for me.
Let me interject something that really upset me, because when I began to use the dreams and drawings and realized what I was learning, I sent it to a medical journal, JAMA, and it's Journal of American Medical Association. And it came back saying it's interesting, but it's not appropriate for our journal. So I sent it to a psychiatric journal. It came back again. This time it said, it's appropriate, but it isn't interesting. We know all this. That's part of what upsets me. That I always say that as people, we're being treated like a physical entity. You got an electrician or a plumber fixing your house. You don't have a house doctor who comes over and fixes everything. But people are a unit. We're not either a mind or a body. And Jung talked about that too. You can't separate psyche and soma. And that's the part that I found very upsetting in our training. So if you're a psychiatrist, you know about things like this. And if you're a surgeon, nobody ever tells you about it. But the people are the same. And again, Jung said the diagnosis may help the doctor, but it doesn't help the patient. But the key thing is the story. So I began to question people, about what they're experiencing. And then it opened up a whole new realm for them and helped them to heal.
So Larry, you're having a bit of the same experience with your TEDx talk, aren't you?
Yeah. So Bernie, I did a TEDx talk, and it got 7,000 views, and people were all excited about it. And then TED decided, the powers that be decided to censor the talk because it didn't meet their standards, their scientific standards.
Yeah.
And it was all about the dreams. And the research he did on the dreams.
Yeah, I got so much criticism when I would speak at grand rounds and other things to doctors because they say, well, what study was done? Oh, that's a poor journal. That's not well controlled. They couldn't accept the truth, what I was sharing with them. So I learned to tell stories, and I would suggest this to Larry too. Don't try to change people's minds. Tell a story about a patient. Yeah. If you tell a story, like one that's in one of my books, where the woman goes to sleep, a woman appears in the dream who has dark skin and an accent and says, you have a lump in your right breast, you need to have it checked. She wakes up, feels it, goes to the hospital, they diagnose her with breast cancer. They say, the doctor in charge of your treatment will be in a few minutes. In walks a doctor from India with an accent who was the woman in her dream. Now, they can't deny that, see? They can't say it's not statistically valid. So I learned to become a storyteller. Then they didn't feel threatened. Oh, that's an anecdote. Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah, so your story is in the book. And Larry, we've got a similar story like that in the book too, don't we?
Yeah, and the funny thing about what Bernie just said is they can't deny that happened, but they can't explain it, and that upsets them.
That's right. Yeah, it's not scientific.
Yeah, but we did have several people who recognized their doctor from their dream when they finally get to the appointment. One of my best friends did that in Philadelphia, and we had a few other people. Same thing, they walk in, and there was that person in the white coat that they met in the dream. Yep.
In many ways, it reminds me of the near-death experience, how doctors were explaining it's hypoxia, it's like, blah, 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 until it happened, like that neurosurgeon who then writes a bestseller because he has a near-death experience. I've been very different because of my life experience. When I was 4 years old, I had a near-death experience, and many other things have happened to me. So I know I'm not a normal doctor, but, my mind was open to sharing with all these people what they were going through. And once they learn, as one woman said to me, "You're not a normal doctor, so I know I can talk to you." Yeah, I mean, after heart-lung transplant, woman woke up, said, "I'd like a beer and a chicken McNugget, please." She said, "What am I doing?" She had a teenager's heart and lungs in her, and he met her in a dream. I don't think I put this in the book, but she was sleeping in the intensive care unit. This young man walks up, gave her his name, said, "We're together forever." And when she and her friends traced him down with his name in obituaries, that's on his headstone, "Together forever." And she rode a motorcycle on his birthday, which she didn't know was his birthday, and he died in a motorcycle accident. But all these things you can't deny. But why did I get to meet her? Matter of fact, she wrote a book called Change of Heart. There's Sylvia. But I got to meet her because she paged me and said, "Could I talk to you? Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I know you won't."
That just gives me goosebumps. What a great story. So, Larry, you had a story in here. It wasn't a motorcycle accident, but it was a bike accident, and it was like a precognitive dream. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Bernie, I did have a dream, my only dream ever, about my passenger in the car told me that she was going to have a near-death experience today. That was the passenger telling me that, so I drove really carefully in the dream. Right. But I still wound up in the hospital with my whole left side was injured. And I thought I had a stroke in the dream. But the dream neurologist came by on rounds, and sure enough, he says, "Do you have any neurological symptoms?" And I could move my arm. I said, "No." He said, "You're fine, go home." So the next morning, I was going on a bike ride, and I wound up having an accident, even though I was biking very carefully because the dream, I still had the accident, landed on my left elbow, my left hip, my left shoulder, bounced off the asphalt, and when I got up to my feet, I said, "Oh, that dream neurologist said I was going to be okay," so I got back on the bike and rode home.
Yeah. Well, I have an angel, because I fell off a ladder, literally, off the roof of our house, but landed at my feet, which I had no explanation for. So I said, I must have an angel. And a guy came up to me after my lecture, said, "You have an angel." I said, "What?" He said, "I know his name." I said, "What's his name? What did you say when the ladder broke?" I said, "Oh, shit." He said, "That's his name." And that has saved me from more injuries, because as soon as I blurt that out, I start laughing. And I've been around many times, totally relaxed and laughing, and I get up, get back on my bike, which in one case I hit a sheet of ice, but I was so relaxed that nothing, went wrong. So I'd say everybody has an angel, and just call out his name or her name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all do. I say we are all born with guardian angels and spirit guides. We're their job, and they really take that job seriously. So, Larry, what was your favorite dream, do you think?
I don't know if Bernie's heard this one before, but there was a lady, Bernie, who had 29 years old. She had stage 4 uterine cancer, and she was going to die, and she had 5% chance to survival until the silver spaceship came with the aliens in it, and they whispered in her ear and said, "You need some interferon." And this was more than 20 years ago, and he never heard of interferon. She went to her doctor. He was so startled when she said, "I think I need some interferon," that he said, "Okay, well, we'll get you some." He couldn't believe that she had heard of an experimental drug.
Well, I don't know if, I don't remember what's in the book, because so many things that we've read and told about. But one lady went to bed, also expecting to die, had a dream. A cat appeared and said, "My name is Miracle. Here's the treatment you should have for your cancer." She wrote it all down, and she didn't know a damn thing about chemotherapy or anything else, but she wrote it down, and her doctor, thank God, said, "All right, we'll try that." And of course, she's well, years later. And we named, as a matter of fact, one of our cats Miracle. And I may say she was. She lived for over 20 years.
Wow.
Incredible creature. But again, you know, when those things happen, they're not coincidences. And so I had many patients in the office where I'd say, have you had a dream? Do you know what's going on? And what was interesting to me, the family would often say to me, our mother's very strange. She has all these crazy things happen. So please be patient. And I'd come out smiling saying, boy, you got a great mother. Wonderful dreams and stuff. And they'd look at me like, oh my God, he's crazy too. But, you know, they weren't afraid to share. And those are such important things for people to do. Don't worry about what other people say about you. If something gives you information, speak up. Take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. So we're running out of our time already. I mean, anytime we get the two of you on a show together, it's like such a marvelous show. But Larry, tell us what your gift is for any of our audience today that are watching.
Yes. So two things on my website, thelarryburk.com or letmagichappen.com. The same goes to the same place. One thing you can do is watch my TEDx talk. The way you do that is you have to click. There's a little red banner over there. You have to click on that red little X in the upper right-hand corner. The red banner will go away, so you'll be allowed to watch it. It's a secret. So that's the secret gift. And then I also have a newsletter subscription on my website where if you click on that and put your email in, you'll get my top 10 mind, body, spirit, self-healing techniques back sent to you. So.
Great. And for all of our listeners, if you go to my website, KathleenO'KeefeCanavos.com, and you buy a book today and you put the receipt from the book in the pop-up, you will get my video 101 Dream Course for free. So, Bernie, share your website with us because I know you've got lots of stuff on yours. I've been there.
BernieSiegelMD.com, SIEGEL. BernieSiegelMD.com. And there are a lot of articles. People can, you know, ask me questions, do everything. One of our sons and his family run a store called Wisdom of the Ages. And so my books, CDs, all those things are there. And if they order it through them and put in, I think that in the comment box, I think the code numbers, 36 or 27, you get a 15% discount just by putting that code number in if you want any books or anything of that sort. And they're in Hartford, Connecticut area. So if anybody lives in that area, you can go over to the store. They got a lot of wonderful things there.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you again, Larry Burk, for co-hosting with me today. Thank you so much, Bernie, for coming on and sharing stories. It was a really fun show with you. And you have been listening to the Cat Cannabis Show on New Earth TV. Tune in again next week when we will have more great guests for you. Until then, go and order Dreams That Can Save Your Life. Today, get the free gifts and help us get up to #1 on the Amazon bestsellers list. Until then, good night, everybody.
Thanks, Bernie. Thanks, Kat.
Good night. Thank you.